This is the most stacked precon I've ever seen. Deep Clue Sea, brother. That's a pun, because there's not really clues in the sea. Look, man, I've been buying precons since 2013 with Jaleva, Thraxamunda all crammed into a big piece of garbage. This deck is synergistic and nasty. Multiple $10 cards, reprints of expensive staples. What the heck, man? Sweet online stores are already gouging the hell out of this precon. 65 to 70 bucks. Isn't having no MSRP awesome? It's almost as cool as scalpers having scooped up all the secret lair commander decks and now they're going, for 600 bucks or whatever the hell it is. But that's a different video, dude. Let's take a look at some new cards. The face commander is Morshka, Undersea Sleuth. Green, white, and blue for a legendary creature, Vidalcan Fish Detective. Just like Nikki G, it's a 2/3. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Morshka, Undersea Sleuth. Look at this guy out there, man. He's shooting lasers under the sea from out of his little blue hands. Now, you guys are going to get in the comments, man. Morshka's actually a lady, dude. Alright, well, listen, it doesn't really matter. It's here to make a clue each turn. And the alternate commander is Sophia, Dogged Detective. 1 green, white, and blue for a legendary creature, human detective. It's a 3/4. When this guy enters the battlefield, create Tiny, a legendary 2/2 green dog detective creature token with trample. Has 1, sacrifice an artifact token, put a +1/+1 counter on each dog you control. Whenever a dog you control deals combat damage to a player, create a food token, then investigate. Alright, man, fits nicely into this deck. Not a bad couple creatures for 4 mana. It's a bit clunky, but lets you use up those clues. That's a really cool dog too, man. Wonder what they're looking at up in the sky there. Dog looks scared. Looks like he's gonna drop a deuce right in this lady's lap. Alright, let's take a look at some new cards. This ransom note is a piece of garbage. I'd honestly rather have any ramp rock, but we're in green, so pop this out. You can stick in rampant growth or some little mana dork. I think in this deck you probably want artifacts. It's 3 mana to surveil 1 and draw a card, which you can do for 1 mana in blue with Consider. Then we have Serene Sleuth. Look at this serene animal out there. 1 and a white for a creature, human detective. It's a 2/2. When this enters the battlefield, investigate. At the beginning of combat on your turn, investigate for each goated creature you control. Then each creature you control is no longer goated. It's anti-goad tech, dude. I like the art style here. Very pretty card. But this is kind of precon meta specific. There's a lot of goad in these 4 precons, specifically in the Boros deck. I don't think I'd run this outside of that context. On the trail is a little enchantment here. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. This goes nutso in this deck, not bad for 2 mana, but I'd rather have something to advance my board in the early game. This card is probably going to be better mid-game, I would think. Then we have Detective of the Month, 2 and a blue for a creature, human detective. It's a 2/3 with Ascend. As long as you have the city's blessing, detectives you control can't be blocked. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. I'm kind of sensing a theme here, I know people are going to hate on the art. Actually, I'm going to hate on the art right now too. But it's okay if it's not all art is for me, you know what I mean? She looks like a dime store Harry Potter here, but this card does a lot. Look at me, I'm a detective, Harry. That Ascend condition will be easy to meet, and this comes down early. Fall of the Body's very weird card. I can see this being useful after you pop a few clues, just get them back, but there are easier ways to make clues out there. It is neat that this has Gravestorm though. Armed with Proof. Look at this guy just flopping papers all over the joint. 2 and a white for an enchantment. When this guy enters the battlefield, investigate twice. Clues you control are equipment. In addition to their other types, they have equipped creature gets +2/+0 and equip 2. This can be pretty useful, but that's a bad equipment, dude. Would you run that equipment? Probably not, but the strength here is in the setting of this deck is the creation of 2 clues when it ETBs. Look at this stallion out there, the Innocuous Researcher, 3 and a green for a creature, Centaur Detective. It's a 3/4 with Parlay. Whenever Innocuous Researcher attacks, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you investigate. Then each player draws a card. At the beginning of your end step, you may untap all lands you control. If you do, you can't cast spells until your next turn. What the heck is going on here? Is that Prince, dude? The Purple Rain Horse here has an interesting set of abilities. I would play this card purely for the fun factor, the group hug aspect, people will let it chill out there on the battlefield, and the ability to spend that mana on clues. So you're untapping all your lands, you can't cast spells, but you probably have clues out there, draw some cards. It would kind of suck not to be able to cast your instant speed removal, but this is a May ability anyway, so if you're holding instant speed removal, just don't do it. Neat card. Merchant of Truth. I saw this lady at Dunkin' Donuts. She said, "You don't buy those donuts, man. You're too fat, buddy." And that was the truth. 2 white for a creature. Angel Detective. It's a 2/5 with flying. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate. Clues you control have Exalted. So this is interesting. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, this is an old mechanic. That creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each instance of Exalted among permanents you control. It's kind of nice if your commander's getting real huge because of that second draw trigger. This would be a little better in a sacrifice deck where you're looping creatures in and out, not relying on combat damage to win, slap in with a flyer, maybe take somebody out. I like the art on this too. Nice contrast with the stained glass effect and the more realistic looking wings. Is this a damn wall of kelp from Ice Age, dude? No way. It's a Tangle Trove. 5 blue for an artifact creature clue plant. It's a 6/6 with Ward 2. At the beginning of each combat, other clues you control become 6/6 plant creature tokens in addition to their other types until end of turn. Has 2, sacrifice this, draw a card. This is just a dang clue plant, so that's the Magic the Gathering in a nutshell, dude. This guy can be a win condition if you have all these clues kind of scattered about the joint. It's 7 mana though. Alright, let's run through some notable reprints on this deck, and there are quite a few. Hydroid Krasis, I love this little fella. Very Simic, great even if you're only drawing 2 cards off of it. Late game, this can fill your hand right back up, bash in for evasive damage. Finale of Revelation is about $8 or so. I had no idea this got so pricey, but it's another great draw spell in this deck. Academy Manufacturer is a mighty pricey card, about $7 despite a few reprints. In this deck, it's bonkers and an excellent value piece. Now this is where the rubber hits the road. You got Adrix and Neb. This is a $30 card. Dang token doubling effect. People love token doubling effects and they're like, "Oh man, I'll pay $1 million for this, dude." This is killer in a deck that's all about making tokens. Alondra, I think it's a couple reprints away from being bulk, man. It's very reminiscent of Talrand, although it has that win condition stapled right on. It's a great card, but the price is driven by having only one version in the last Jumpstart product. I love this card, did a whole deck around it. Benny Brax has Convoke, dude. He's looking a mutant bat right in the chops, brother. This is an $18 draw engine in a token deck. This deck draws a lot of cards, dude. Great reprint. Mechanized Production. This is a win condition if people can't stop the Clue army here. Then we have Q-Lane. I don't know how the heck you say this, man. Kukulin, the Teller of Tales. Not sure why this is in the deck, to be honest with you, but it's a $10 card. There are 31 creatures here, so I wouldn't cut it for raw power. Oh my god, this deck is stacked. You have Farewell. Well, you're going to fare well with Farewell. This card goes in every white deck. It's difficult to answer, can be shaped for maximum advantage. It's like $8. And Coma here, 3 green, blue, legendary creature, Serpent. It's a 6/6, can't be countered. At the beginning of each upkeep, that's each upkeep around the table, create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. Sacrifice another serpent, you can choose one, tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. Coma Cosmos Serpent gains indestructible until end of turn. This is $13 for a reason, man. That's each upkeep, dude. It's 7 mana, but that's a potent control piece. Is that a Coma's Coil in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me, brother? Alright, let's talk about upgrades. We're going to upgrade this deck. Now, you know me, dude. I want to ramp. I want to get lands in untapped, but let's do it on a budget. Get those crappy lands out of here, buddy. Play slightly less crappy lands, Alright, let's get right down to brass tacks here. We're adding Urza. This is another legend that comes with his own little guy. He makes those clues into little mana rocks. This is such a crazy card, man. It's only about $8 right now. How about this guy, Karn Legacy Reforged? It's a damn construct himself that can also put in work. This guy adds mana to help sacrifice clues and just be a general menace to society. This is also about $8. Cyberdrive Awakener. I've been a fan of this card forever. This is another combat threat that can swing a game really quick, man. Unfortunately, it also got a little pricey. It's around $7 right now. This guy wakes up the clues and yeets them at your opponent's nuts. Temio's Journal. I mean, you're building a clue deck here. We're making lots of clues. Why isn't this thing in the dang deck, dude? It's like 70 cents or so. Go get Urza, buddy. Rise and Shine and all that glitters can add potent power to the board. I don't really care too much about losing the aura. People say this negative card advantage if you're playing auras out there, but we're drawing so much cards in this deck, it's not even going to matter. Remember, with Rise and Shine, your signets can get big too, buddy. Now, the latest Universes Beyond Doctor Who product had a few cards that fit nicely in this deck, and they're all basically pennies. The third Doctor looks like a damn Margaret Thatcher out there. She looks like an old lesbian I used to know out for a night on the town. The third Doctor is a legendary creature. She's a Time Lord Doctor. It's a 2/2 with Trample. The Third Doctor gets +1/+1 for each non-creature token you control. When the Third Doctor enters the battlefield, create your choice of a clue token, a food token, or a treasure token. It's rather a pity in a way. Now the universe is down to 69 wonders. Then we got old Doug Doogie Dugan, the private detective, 2 green and a blue for a legendary creature, a human detective. It's a star. This guy's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever Dugan enters the battlefields or attacks, investigate. The most important punch in history, 1 green and tap. Dugan deals damage equal to twice its power to another target creature. Activate only once. Oh my god, dude. This guy is romancing a chair behind closed doors and he's gonna punch your face off if you have anything to say about it. What this guy does in the privacy of his own house is his business, unless you're in Texas, brother. So listen, man, that's the deck. This deck is bonkers right out of the box. Ton of value for 45 bucks, although it's pre-selling for much more. I think these decks should cost around $45, but what the heck do I know? This is a good pre-con. We'll go into the rest of them, maybe not as stacked as this one. I'm going to put the Moxfield link up there. The good thing about Moxfield is you can see what I took out, you can see what I put in if you go to the View History tab, and you can play test it to see how it plays, man. By turn 7 or 8, man, this thing's going off. So let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and a warm hug will be waiting for you from me, the Pale Bear of Legend, Nikki G, signing off.